What's going on, everybody? This is North Shore 9 presented by FanDuel. And I'm Jim. And with me this morning in Bradenton is Dougie Fresh. Dougie Fresh, this is your first ever Bucco Brew powered by Fer Coffee Tea. I feel like I just hit the upgrade button on my laptop.
Well, I don't know if I'm an upgrade, but we're on time because it's me, right? It's not ish. We started at 7 a.m.
That's true. We were here ready to roll at like 6:55, and I'm just thinking, like, I don't think if Donardo were here, he would be getting up at that time, and he would be like, "Hold on, I gotta hop in the shower," and then we'd be scrambling, and we'd be probably starting this like 7:10. So yeah, I appreciate the
I offer punctuality.
Yeah. But no, what's that? We're here in Bradenton. We're at the Airbnb, and yeah, I said we put out a lot of stuff yesterday. Put out some fun things yesterday. We did a live show from LECOM Park. Jim Trudinich was on the show to talk about Bill Mazeroski a little bit. We did a recap of the day back here. You and Tyler handled that, but we had interviews with Deuce Gorson in there, who had a base hit yesterday and 2 walks, and Don Kelly press conference in there as well. So make sure you check those 2 things out at some point today. But yeah, we've got a whole lot of stuff for you. This is our second full day here in Bradenton, and as a crew, North Shore 9, we've got me, Doug, Cody, and Tyler here this week, and then we're doing a line change, and then we got Donardo, Neil, Ryan, and Nathan coming in for week 2. So we're going to be giving you a ton of stuff over these next 2 weeks. I'm pretty excited about it.
I am too. I'm going to be here for week 2 as well. So
that's true. You're sticking around the whole time.
I'm sort of a glue guy. Right?
Yeah.
I'm to ease with the transition.
Yeah.
So yeah, I'm looking forward to it. I mean, the minute you get down here, you feel the spring training vibes, and it's hopeful and optimistic. It's just a great setting. I'm 2 days in. I'm enjoying myself immensely. It's a lot of fun. I'm looking forward to what we're going to see today, and for the rest of the time we're here.
So our theme of today's show, because we're doing so much stuff around here, we didn't really want to talk too much about what we already talked about yesterday, what we're going to be talking about later today. We want to make sure we're giving you kind of just like new stuff every show here. So theme of today's show is kind of those guys on the fringe of the roster, and we're going to talk mostly about newly acquired outfielder Jhostynxon Garcia, aka the Password. We got our first look at him yesterday, and I mean it was pretty positive. So that'll be the kind of the main part of this show, is like, what's he look like, and is there a path to Jhostynxon Garcia to make this major league team? Roster Resource on Fangraphs currently has him on the team on the bench. I'm not quite sure about that. We'll talk about that more in detail. But what we're also going to talk about is some of those other kind of fringe roster guys where they may or may not be on there now, but they're very close. Like if something falls their way or something falls a certain way, like they could make it. But yeah, we're gonna talk about some fringe roster candidates right now.
Yeah. There's a lot to cover, but we don't want to spend the whole 2 weeks talking about Connor Griffin, right? I mean, he's exciting and we're all really enthused, but there's these other guys, and every year somebody sort of comes out of nowhere. I mean, last year was Isaac Madsen, right? We didn't expect much. When he came up, we didn't expect much. 2 weeks after he was here, we didn't expect much. And, now we're like, this guy's pitching the 7th and the 8th inning. And these guys, they're that close. They're sort of just an inch away from being in the major leagues. If things break right or break poorly or just anything could happen, these are the kind of guys that would be immediately either called up or get more time from slide into a starting role from being a bench role.
Yeah, so we're going to talk about that today. We probably won't have a full hour-long show just because we've got another live show coming to you in let's see, 5 hours. Right. So we're gonna be short and sweet this morning. But before we get to all of that, let's talk about our sponsor of today's show, Fer Coffee Tea. So Fer is a family and employee-owned and operated business. They believe that coffee and tea are one of life's simplest and most accessible pleasures, and when enjoyed thoughtfully, can open your eyes to the here and now. They've got 5 locations across the city of Pittsburgh, including their flagship in the heart of Pittsburgh Strip District. Don't forget to stop by their new location downtown on Penn Avenue. It's right across from the Benedum. Grab a cup of coffee and fuel up on your walk to PNC Park from downtown. Mobile ordering is available. Check out their Instagram for more details. And of course, the website is defer.coffee. That's DEFER.coffee. And if you go to that website, load up your cart, enter promo code NS930, NS930 on defer.coffee. You'll get 30% off your entire order, Doug.
So, we love them. You will too.
Yeah. Unfortunately, there's no Defer coffee in Bradenton, so we're just drinking straight out of, whatever this is.
Whatever, yeah.
Yeah, whatever this is. All right. So let's get into this. Jhostynxon Garcia. Let's kind of just tail of the tape. He's 23 years old, 6'0", 224 pounds. He did play in 5 games last year with Boston. 9 plate appearance over those 5 games. He was a top 100 prospect according to MLB Pipeline when he was acquired. The newly updated rankings have him outside of that top 100. But if you look at certain prospect lists, he's kind of one of those fringe top 100 guys right now. He reached AAA last season at age 22. He hit 18 home runs in AAA. Hit 271, slugged 498, had a 116 weighted runs created plus. Can play all 3 outfield positions, so can play center field, which is certainly a valuable tool to have. And yeah, like I said, yesterday we saw him for the first time and hit the ball hard. Hit the ball hard twice. Had 2 hits, including a RBI single with the bases loaded in a big spot in the middle of the game there to kind of give the Pirates a lead. So, Jhostynxon Garcia. Let's talk about him a little bit. First off, I guess, what were your first thoughts seeing him up close and in person yesterday?
He's a solid looking dude, right? He's put together and, great hair.
Great hair.
Great hair. And I loved his approach. He's not swinging from his heels, right? He's got power. He hit the ball hard. He made a nice running play in the outfield. Again, this guy's close. Right now, we're assuming our outfield is O'Hearn, Reynolds, and Cruz. But O'Hearn will obviously get some at bats at playing time at first base. So it's easy to see a world where he is on this roster. I think it makes more sense to put him in AAA and just let him get at bats. I don't want him in the Alexander Canario role. If he's getting playing time, if he's gonna get 2 starts a week and some pinch hitting or something, sure. But again, one injury. And, and obviously we got to, consider Jake Mangum in there. I'm assuming Jake Mangum's on the roster and is going to get a lot of playing time just for his defensive prowess. And that's the other thing. Jhostynxon Garcia is a good defensive player. It's like Jim said, he can play all 3 outfield positions, which really, the Pirates love their versatility. All teams love having versatile position flexibility. But one game, but man, he looked good yesterday. He looked like he was in control. He looked like he knew what he was doing. It was nice to see. Encouraging.
Yeah, I would say, like, out of the starters yesterday, there were 2 people who kind of stood out to me. One was Brian Reynolds, who went 3 for 3, but Garcia was the other one. And one thing, and it's one game, right? So you can't take anything out of this, but he looked good. Yeah. Like, if you're gonna. You said it yesterday in the recap where, like, none of this really matters all that much, but I'd rather be talking about guys who look good than look bad, right? And Garcia looked good yesterday. It was the second game of spring. I imagine he's going to get quite a bit of playing time this spring. I mean, as far as outfielders go, he's someone fighting for a spot on this roster. And I think right now, just the way that things are situated, right? You're going to have Brian Reynolds in left. You're going to have O'Neal Cruz in center. You're going to have Ryan O'Hearn in right field most days. Jake Mangum has some value to this team because of his versatility as well, can play all 3 outfield roles. He's also just a different type of player that this team is lacking, kind of one of those guys who's a super tough at bat. He's not going to strike out. He's going to put the ball in play. He's going to steal some bases, and he can play really, really good defense. So, like, I think Jake Mangum is squarely on this roster,
right.
Barring
he looks like the 4th outfielder,
barring him looking like just awful
Right.
this spring. I just don't see a way where Mangum doesn't make this team. So you look at Garcia, and he's that fifth guy. So you ask yourself, do you want him to be the fifth guy where he's getting a start here and there, he's pinch hitting against left-handed pitchers, or do you want him to get everyday at bats in AAA so that he can kind of continue to refine his swing? Because that is the one thing. Like he's got a ton of power. That is 100%. The contact rate's a little iffy, right? He swings and misses quite a bit, but when he hits the ball, he can hit the ball hard. I don't think it's good for him and his development to just be sitting on the bench 5 days a week. So I don't think that's a good role for him. What I do think, though, is that if one of those outfielders, if something were to happen to one of those outfielders, like he's the next guy. Like I like the upside that he offers you,
right.
And then you can give him some more regular playing time. I think that's where he sits right now. So I want to see if you know what you think about that. But also, like, is there a way for him to change your mind on that this spring? Like, is there actually a way that Garcia can make this team?
I believe the only way really is through injury, and that would include Harwitz, right? If Harwitz gets hurt and O'Hearn, is playing full-time first base, that sort of thing. Jhostynxon could have a great spring, but I mean, let's face it, it's Hearn. Oh, I'm sorry. It's O'Hearn, it's Reynolds, it's Cruz to start. I don't care if those guys have a bad spring; they're your starting outfielders,
right? And you got to play them every day,
right? And right, these are sort of three of the bigger hitters that we're expecting the most production from in the lineup. So I anything short of an injury to one of those guys or Spencer Harwitz. And it just doesn't make sense for Garcia to be on the roster because, again, Mangum looks to be the fourth outfielder. He'll get some defensive replacement stuff in. Pinch hitting, again, offers a different look than these other guys do. So, yeah, I hope he hits 400, but I don't even think that's enough to get him in the lineup, barring some sort of injury to or Marcelo Zuna or somebody like that. If one of these big new acquisitions or Cruz, Reynolds, or Harwitz can't play due to injury, then I think this guy gets the first shot at it.
Yeah, again, he's just 23 years old. He just turned 23 2 months ago. He has 81 games above AA in AAA, and then I said the 5 games in the major, so 86 games total above AA. I think he could use some more time at the upper levels. But he absolutely could be ready too. And it could be one of those things where it's like, hey, we've got this guy, he's ready, but there's no room for him. And that's a good thing. That's what I like about this team this year, because I feel like forever Garcia would be one of those guys who, like, on a past Pirates team, it's like, just play him.
Oh yeah. If this was last season.
Right.
And they were playing Suwinski and Bay instead of Garcia, I'd be screaming,
losing our minds.
Right. Yeah. It's like, let this kid, let's see what this kid has. I mean, he might very well be ready, but being ready isn't, the only factor. We're definitely going to ride out with those guys we've already mentioned, and we'll see what happens. It's a long season. Lots of things can go wrong or right depending on your perspective.
I think it's safe to say that at some point we're going to see him this year, and at some point we're going to hope he can be a rather big contributor.
Yeah, I mean, let's hope that come May we're he's knocking down the door, right? He's just crushing it at AAA, waiting for his opportunity, doing everything he needs to do. He'll if that's the case, he's going to get his chances. So we'll see what happens. But I'm really looking forward to watching him this spring and paying attention to what he does at AAA. He's an interesting player.
All right. So let's shift gears to another guy, also from Boston, also acquired via a trade, also 23 years old still. I feel like we kind of think he's maybe not as young as he is, but he still is. And that's Nick Yorke. So Nick Yorke, 23 years old. Last season in AAA for Indianapolis, he played 103 games. He hit 287 slugged 406. He had a 104 weighted runs created plus, so just like a slightly above average hitter in AAA last year. He started off really cold, and then heated up as the season went on. At the end of the year, got the call up, played 22 games in the majors. It wasn't that good. He hit 232, 264, 319, 59 weighted runs created plus. So Nick Yorke is someone who I don't want to say he's forgotten, because I actually think if we're building a team right now with who's in camp, like Nick Yorke is probably on your bench right now. But I feel like his luster is certainly lost. I don't think people are as excited about Nick Yorke as they were maybe a year ago. I know this time last year, I remember being in a car with Anthony Murphy, our friend from Bucks on Deck, and we were in the car driving from Bradenton up to Clearwater for the spring breakout game, and we were listening to some. I think it was Fangraphs podcast, but we were listening to a podcast, and the guest who was on that show was talking about, Nick Yorke being there, a sleeper top 100 guy. You had Keith Law ranking Nick Yorke in his top 100. So like you had a lot of hype for Nick Yorke going into last year's camp, and you don't have that this year.
Right. Yeah. The shine is definitely off. We picked him up at the trade deadline in the 24 season. They didn't bring him up. We were, sort of clamoring for him. We wanted to see him. Last year, I mean, his start at AAA last year was just dreadful. I mean, it was like, oh my gosh, he's a bust type thing. How quick we are to judgment. He's another versatile player. He started at first base yesterday. He can play, I think, third, second, third, and first. He can play the corner outfield positions. He makes sense. You could see him in that sort of Canario role where maybe he starts once a week or, gets some pinch hit at bats, that sort of thing. He obviously has to hit better at the major league level. He needs a better start than how he started last year, but you're right. We've sort of moved on from him with the new acquisitions and getting guys like Mangum and Garcia in. Nick Yorke is going to have to fight and carve out a role. He's going to have to seize his opportunity. Right? He cannot come at you with another 59 WRC plus. He's going to have to be productive. And again, he's still young, right? If you would have asked me, I would have guessed he was at 26 and he was at that sort of cut age. And the kid's still just 23 and again, was once sort of highly thought of. So, but we're quick to move on. It's what have you done for me lately? So.
Yeah, I mean, this was a 17th overall pick in 2020, right out of high school. To speak on the versatility a little bit, just to kind of talk through this, but just last year between AAA and Pittsburgh, he played first base, he played second base, he played third base, he played left field, and he played right field. So like there's that's valuable to be able to play 5 different positions. And those sorts of players tend to be what you'd like on your bench, right? So yeah, I think Nick Yorke's got the inside track to making the bench as we sit right now. Especially if a lot of it depends on Connor Griffin, right? And we're not going to make this a Connor Griffin episode, but like if Connor Griffin somehow makes this team and it bumps Nick Gonzalez to the bench, then maybe that changes some things for Nick Yorke. But as of right now, if the plan is to have Connor Griffin start in the minors and Nick Gonzalez play shortstop and Jared Triolo play third, then I think Nick Yorke has to be that utility guy off your bench who can play in the infield if you need him to. He can play a corner outfield spot if necessary. He doesn't necessarily need as many upper level at bats, I think, as Garcia, because as you said, it's not that he's much older. He is 8 months older, but I mean, Nick Yorke has played 143, 107, 181 games in AAA now in his career. So like he's seen plenty of upper level pitching. Right now, it's just a matter of like, can you be a major leaguer?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I guess he offers a little more versatility than Nick Gonzalez does, I suppose. So if Connor Griffin were to make it and I would think he's battling with Nick Gonzalez. And it seems to me that Pirates management is sort of soured a little on Nick based on the moves they made. Again, he's going to have every opportunity this spring too to establish himself, but they want more, that's for sure. And if Nick Gonzalez or Nick Yorke looks better than Nick Gonzalez then some of these other roster things happen. Again, Nick Yorke has a good opportunity of breaking camp with this team.
I think he does too. And I think there's 4 bench spots too. So like there's still that third non-catcher bench spot where, like, if we're assuming Mangum takes one and let's say Griffin does make the team and Gonzalez takes the other one, like there's still another spot. So it's like Yorke's got some opportunity to make this team. So it's going to be a big spring for him to show that, 1, he can handle all these positions, and 2, he can swing the bat a little bit.
He can hit.
Yeah.
Right.
Specifically, like if he can hit against lefties, like be able to hit against lefties, because that's where you're going to probably get the bulk of your playing time, is against lefties, or just he's got to be able to. He's got to look good this spring. Let's move on. Let's talk about another infielder, Enmanuel Valdez, another guy who's just we haven't talked about Enmanuel Valdez at all off season.
I forgot he was still on the roster.
He was. They had that dreadful start last year where just no one did anything. Valdez wasn't good. Like let's just make sure that we put that out there. Like he wasn't good. He had 209. He had an 82 weighted runs created plus. He was not a good hitter. But I guess he was one of the few guys who didn't look completely lost at the plate.
Yeah, he had a few moments, right? He had a few games where he was playing first, I think, because Harwitz was still hurt with the wrist injury, and I think he had a big home run at one point. He didn't do much. 2 homers. He didn't do much. Nobody did much, but he looked like one of the few guys. Like I said, everybody seemed to have a 50 WRC plus, and he had 89. So when you were looking at him through that prism, he kind of looked good and interesting, and then he got hurt. And nothing can make us forget a player more than inactivity. And I forgot that he was still with the organization, and he's he doesn't him staying on the roster or him being released would not make a bunch of headlines, but he's still here. He has some ability. Again, can move around the field a little bit of pop. I mean, an opportunity's here. A lot of things would have to happen, and he would have to really shine, I think, to get any chance at making the 26-man roster. But again, baseball's a funny game, and a lot of things can happen, and who knows?
Yeah, I'm actually going to disagree with you a little bit. I think as things stand right now, like if they don't bring in anyone else, I think Valdez is like my 26th guy. And the reason for that is you've got Mangum, you've got your backup catcher, you've got Yorke, and then there's still that one more bench spot. And I'm not giving it to Garcia. Like I don't want Garcia to have that role. So like I think Valdez gets that job. Now, versatility, he can technically stand in multiple spots on the field. Defensively, he just the month or so that he played last year, he didn't impress me at all. He looked quite bad everywhere that I saw him. But he can technically
that's
play.
Kind of our move. We have quite a few guys that look bad.
He can technically play first. He can play second. He can play third. He can play left. He can play right. Those are all places he's played, in his pro career. Right. So similar to Yorke in that aspect, he hits left-handed as opposed to Yorke hitting right-handed. So it offers you that left-handed bat off the bench, which you have a left-handed heavy lineup right now, but you do probably want like one lefty bat off the bench, I think. And that's where he can provide that for you. I think it's a big spring for him, because I think if he goes out there and he just looks terrible this spring, then maybe you do have to go and look outside the organization to fill that last spot. Because let's not forget, a lot of teams are going to be cutting people in about a month. So you're going to have this plethora of fringe roster guys.
Right. And those are just the type of guys.
Yeah.
Right.
You're going to have a plethora of fringe roster guys who are out of options, but they didn't make their team. And so they're semi-interesting, but they just weren't good enough to win a job. But maybe those are the guys that you want to give that 26 spot to. So the guys in camp, and like I said, Canario was that. I mean, at this point last year, we had no idea that Alexander Canario was going to be on the Pirates for 180 days last year, and he somehow made it, because you're going to have guys like that who are available in about a month or so. So I think it's a big camp for Valdez, because if he shows shows you something, then you maybe feel comfortable giving him that 26 spot. If he doesn't, then I think you got to look outside the organization to fill that last bench spot.
It's actually nice to be talking about a 26 man who's actually a 26 man.
Right.
I mean, last year I whined nonstop about how we had a roster full of 26 men, and that's not the case right now. So we actually have some major league hitters on the team, and yeah, I mean, there were times last year that I forgot Canario was on the 26, and all of a sudden he'd come and make a start or a pitch hit performance, and certainly Valdez could take that role. But yeah, he needs to show it. He needs to have a good spring because, like you said, there'll be options. And the next guy we talk about could possibly be one of those options. I don't think so because we'd want him getting more at bats, but Endy could be vying for that role, and he offers the ability to catch as well as play some of those other positions.
That's a good point. So let's shift focus to Endy Rodriguez, another guy who, similar to Yorke, ton of prospect hype at one point. Endy probably more so than Nick Yorke, but Endy, ton of prospect hype. He was a minor league player of the year for the Pirates a few years back. Tore up the lower levels of the minors.
He won MVP in 2 consecutive seasons. Joe Block mentions that every single at bat.
Yeah. I mean, just tore through the lower levels. He hits AAA and kind of just doesn't hit as well up there. We've seen him in the majors now. He has 261 major league plate appearances. He's hitting 246, slugging 391. It's a 59 weighted runs created plus. He's hit 210. He's slugging 311. 59 weighted runs created plus. That is not good.
No, not for the hype that he had. I mean, he was just a hitter.
Yeah.
Right. It was, if he doesn't catch, he could play first base. He could play second base. He can play corner outfield positions. I've thought here recently he should be taking grounders at third base. It seems like they want to use him at catcher and still see what they have there. But yeah, I mean, this guy has to hit only because we sort of etched in stone that he was going to hit. Like he's just, again, the catcher position, he certainly has got opportunity there. Henry has certainly established himself defensively, but not at all with the bat. Joey Bart, outside of one good, half a season, maybe a little more than half a season at the plate. And, he's awful defensively and, is ideally more suited as a DH. And we have a pretty good DH in Marcell Ozuna, who's going to get the bulk of the at-bats. There's not going to be as much rotating guys through there as you would had you not signed him. So, and he just needs to show he can hit. I think the best thing for him this year would be to start at AAA and just tear it up. He needs at bats. He's had 2 lost seasons. I don't know if he's got it or not, but I imagine you're not going to want to put him in a position where he's, getting 2 starts a week. If you want him playing every day and you want him to get back to looking like he did when he was winning, MVPs and player of the year and that sort of thing. And then, depending on what's going on at the major league level, make a decision about bringing him up. But again, he does offer, in a lot of ways, it'd be great to have a third guy that can strap on the catching gear and really be effective. That gives you especially some in-game options. You can pinch hit somebody, you can, move somebody around, that sort of thing. I've been a fan of Endy. I want to see what he can do, but man, he has not hit since AA, and he has not hit 3 years or something. So he has got a lot to prove.
Yeah, he really hasn't hit since 2022, which was 4 years ago.
A long time.
2023, he was an average hitter in AAA, but along your points, he's played 36 games in the last 2 years.
Yeah,
across all levels, 36 games. If you kind of rewind back last year at camp, Pirates broke with Henry Davis, Joey Bart, and Endy Rodriguez. So all 3 of those made it then as well. So yeah, it's interesting to see how they're going to play this. I don't think Endy Rodriguez makes this team at all, but stuff could always happen, right?
Sure.
I don't think he does. I agree with you. I think he just needs to get some at-bats. He needs to get some regular playing time. Have him catch in AAA. When he's not catching, have him DH. Kind of have him and Flores go back-to-back in those roles, like kind of just flip-flopping catcher DH every day. I think that's probably what's going to be best for him. I'm just disappointed with kind of how they've handled Endy a little bit too. Like going through the minors, I loved the fact that he was versatile and he was catching, he was playing second, and he was playing in the outfield, and he was doing all this stuff because like there's so much value in having a guy like that on your roster who can also hit a little bit. And then once he got closer to the majors, they were like, "No, you're a catcher." Right? And that's kind of when he stopped hitting, is when he just started catching all the time. And I wonder how much of that has to do, because he is a smaller guy.
He's a small guy.
He's a smaller guy. Like, is he built to catch for a full season? Like, was it almost helping his body to get out from behind the plate half the games and not having to squat back there, 200 times every single game? So, and also like that affects your hitting. Like your hitting all comes from your lower body. It comes from your legs. So the more you're using your legs, the worse hitter you're going to be. That's why it's so tough to be a catcher in Major League Baseball. So I was disappointed with how they handled it. It seems like this year he's a catcher, and that's what they're set on. Last year, they were also set on that, and then some things happened, and they were like, "Oh, Endy, grab your first base glove." Yeah, so he's kind of been that guy where they've just kind of thrust him into situations that I don't know if it's been best for him. I'm not a huge fan of the way that they've developed Endy Rodriguez once he hit the upper levels.
You know what? 2-3 years ago, I was really excited. I thought, hey, we're going to play Endy and Henry. They're going to switch back and forth between catcher and first base. It's going to keep them fresh. They're not going to be squatting in 100-degree, temperatures in a game in Texas, all 3 games, that sort of thing. And like you said, it was working for for Endy. He'd play catcher, he'd play first base, he'd play second base, and he'd play left field. And, was just hitting like crazy. And then we, like you said, the Pirates just, sometimes you just wonder what they're thinking. A guy's been doing so well doing this, so now we're going to force him into this exclusively. And he walked by us yesterday, gave us an hola, and he's not a big dude. He's not, the size of Henry. So with that kind of versatility, it just seems like, he'd be the perfect sort of like backup catcher that, gets 2 other starts at, first base and second base, throughout, rest up Henry or Joey Bart or whatever. And just let him focus on hitting. It's in there somewhere, and the Pirates have sort of suppressed it. So hopefully, but yeah, like you said, now when we have 4 catchers, it seems like we're going to force him to exclusively be a catcher. But we say that, and then, he could be strapping on the catcher gear, and they're going to be like, "Oh, by the way, Henry or Endy, today you're first base. Did you have a first baseman's mitt?" That sort of thing. Sometimes they just don't seem to make a lot of sense, and then you're not putting people in a position to succeed, and you're setting them up for failure a lot. So hopefully they can get Endy on the right track, that he can start hitting, and they sort of open their mind to the possibilities of what he could add to the roster.
Yeah, I think at the end of the day, he's got to hit, though. Like, he's got to hit.
I mean, that's, we're going to get redundant, but that is for every one of these guys. If they hit, the bat will play. And if you hit, they'll find a spot for you type thing. Some of these old baseball cliches, but it's true. And we've done a nice job of adding to the roster, but we still need other guys to hit.
Yeah. And he homered on Saturday in his first spring game. So, we'll keep an eye on Endy. And then just to round out these guys, someone who I think a lot would have to happen for him to make the roster, but we got to mention him here. He's on the 40-man. He had a great game yesterday in Clearwater, had 2 hits. He went 2 for 4 with a walk and a grand slam. This dude is he had 26 homers last year. He slugged .520. Then he went to the Arizona Fall League, tore it up. Esmerlyn Valdez, his first, second spring game. I guess he played in that first one, but just grand slam, like right off the rip here in spring training. And I don't think he can make this team. Like, it's going to be very difficult. He's really kind of similar to in Connor Griffin's shoes right now. Like, he's 51 games in Double A.
Right.
Like, it'd be quite a jump for him. I think he needs more time at the upper levels, but man, this guy just keeps hitting.
Yeah. To make this roster, he'd have to hit all spring like he did in the Arizona Fall League, where he had like 8 home runs in the first 7 games.
I don't know if he even if he does that,
and
I
that's
don't
probably
know.
not enough. You're right. I mean, it makes sense. But I tell you what, it's exciting because in the Ben Cherington era, we've not had any of our Dominican signings make any kind of impact, our international signings. And this guy has come up and, we keep looking for reasons to sort of, kind of dump on it like, oh, well, but man, he just keeps hitting. And he's got a great vibe, great enthusiasm. He's fun on social media, that sort of thing. And he's hitting. And if you keep hitting like he's hitting, he's going to force his way, onto this roster, right? It's like he's not the highest rated prospect or anything. There's like Florentino's rated higher than him. But again, you keep producing, you hit 26 home runs and we're going to find some space from you. That he's the kind of, if he keeps doing that, that's the kind of guy that will force him to trade somebody, do something, because his bat has been really exciting. The enthusiasm and the flares, it's just a lot of fun. We could use that kind of personality on the team. You always can. And he's going to be fun to track in the spring and whatever he's doing in the minors, because just a breakout season last year was outstanding.
And we mentioned it before, where like, if you can hit, like they're going to find a spot for you. Yeah. I do want to see him get a little bit more comfortable in the outfield. I think he is a lot more use if he can play a corner spot, instead of just kind of pigeonholing him into a first base / DH role. If he can play corner outfield every once in a while, then that gives him a ton of versatility there and a much more value than he offers you as a first baseman. So looking for him, how he looks in the outfield. I know when I saw him in Arizona Fall League, he was just a little iffy out there. Like, didn't get a great read on balls. He didn't make any mistakes, but it wasn't super smooth. So just continue to refine out there. But yeah, like the dude just mashes baseballs. And so just keep mashing baseballs. If he goes to AAA this year and just keeps hitting nukes, at some point we might see Valdez this year. I think that would be aggressive, but I think it's possible that we could see him at some point this year.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, again, if he hits like he did last year at AAA, it'd be hard, when it's time to, when someone gets 2 weeks on the injured list or whatever, to overlook him, to pass him over. It's sometimes you just want to bring up a guy because he's hot, right? And see if it can translate. But you're right. I mean, it's a real long shot for him. But if he keeps doing what he's doing, again, works on that outfield defense, and a lot of that's just reps, right? It's just getting reps. I mean, and they need to coach him up, right? It's the outfield coach at AAA or whatever really needs to work with him. He needs to put in the work. But if he keeps hitting like that, we'll be clamoring, and it'll make sense to get some spot on the roster for him.
Absolutely. So that's what we got for you today. We're going to be live from LECOM Park in about 4 hours or so. So stay tuned for that. It's a cold one today. I think the high is in the 50s. It looks like it's the wind I was looking yesterday was 20-mile-an-hour winds today, Doug, with 60-mile-per-hour wind gusts. So that sounds fun.
If you haven't been down here and, you've watched spring training games, we all know, like I intellectually knew that when that wind really blows at Bradenton and it blows the ball out, you're standing in a wind tunnel, man. There was no place. I wandered the stadium yesterday looking for a spot to get out of the wind. It did not exist. And that wind is just blowing and it's cold. And so I'm probably going to whine a lot on air today. I apologize in advance, but I left 80 degrees in Alabama to come down to be in 50-degree Florida with a wind chill at 49.
Yeah, so that's where. So we're once we wrap up here, we'll head over to LECOM, watch some batting practice, and we'll be live at noon from the ballpark. So make sure you join us. If you're going to the game, come say hi to us. A bunch of people, came up to us yesterday, said hi. It's always great to talk to you guys. So make sure you say hi if you see us. That's
shout out to Sean from Pelham, Alabama. I ran into him yesterday. It's a neighbor of mine practically.
There we go. Shout out Sean. Guys, I said, thanks for watching. Thanks for listening. Like the video, subscribe to the page if you're not. We're going to be putting out, again, a ton of stuff over these next 2 weeks. Not only are we doing live shows from LECOM Park every single home game, we're going to be doing recaps every single day. And hopefully, if you saw last night's recap, you'll see, we had Don Kelly's press conference in there. We had a player interview. We're going to try to mix and mix some things into those, so it's not just us talking the whole time. So we're going to try to mix some things into those recaps. So make sure you check those out at the end of every day. YouTube, anywhere you get your podcasts. But yeah, like the video, subscribe. If you're listening, leave a comment, leave a review. Make sure the review's a 5-star review. No bad reviews, only good reviews here. But yeah, all of that helps us out, helps other people find us.
We haven't mentioned ABS yet. And the reason is because it just went really smoothly. It didn't do anything. It was great. Yep. So we'll talk about that more in the 2 weeks to come.
Yep. All right, guys. So yeah, continue to follow us. Continue to follow us along. Follow along with us. But yeah, we'll be live here in another 4.5 hours or so. But yeah, from Bradenton, I'm Jim.
Thanks, everybody. We'll see you at the ballpark.
That's Dougie Fresh. See you guys later.
All right, that wraps up this episode of North Shore 9. Thanks so much for tuning in. Whether you're listening on the podcast or catching us on YouTube, if you enjoyed the show, please give this video a thumbs up and don't forget to hit that subscribe button if you haven't already. It really helps us grow. And if you're listening on the podcast, a quick review goes a long way in helping others find the show. Plus, be sure to tell a friend about us. There's always room for more here in the NS9 community. And for those looking to support us a little more, consider joining our Patreon, become an MVP member, and get exclusive perks while helping us continue to bring you more of the Pirates content you love. Thanks again for all your support, and let's go Bucks.
Oh,